Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Beatrice Hyppolite and this is your world. Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of Your World with Dr. Beatrice Hyppolite. Today we have the privilege to have a special guest, Nurse Tanesha Roberts. I said your name right?
You did. Thank you, Dr. Hyppolite.
Okay.
I appreciate the invite.
Oh yeah, welcome. But before I even turn the mic over to her to basically present herself to everyone, I want to give like a big shout out to my baby sister, Nurse Neji Maceus, who allowed today, to happen.
Yes.
Thank you, little sister. Now you have the mic. Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. So I've been a nurse for about 22 years, but before I did nursing, my first degree was culinary arts. And when I was a young girl, a lot of the programming that I watched on television revolved around cooking and gardening. And my first degree, like I said, was culinary arts, but that wasn't a job that was really sustainable long term when you're trying to grow a family. So at that time is when I decided to go into nursing. Now, at this point of my life, when I have adult children and I have more time to be able to do the things that I want to do, and a career like nursing allows you to do that because you're working 3 days and you're off 4 days, what it has allowed me to do is to really get back into my gardening, almost like finding my roots back, almost like, just getting started. And then additionally with that comes the produce that comes with the gardening that I do. So I'm able to use a lot of the things that I grow to nurture that desire to cook.
Okay, interesting. Interesting. So our subject today is the therapeutic benefits of gardening. Why this subject is important? Why you want the viewers to know about the importance or the benefits of it?
I think that a lot of people suffer different mental health ailments, and something like gardening, it really addresses a lot of things, whether it be depression or anxiety, whether it be PTSD or dementia, ADHD in children. There's something there in gardening that offers people a chance to kind of therapeutically manage whatever the symptoms are that are associated with whatever their diagnosis is.
Okay, so then you have my ears and I'm pretty sure my viewers are listening. You walk us through it.
Okay, so gardening, one of the big things about gardening is that it reduces the amount of cortisol that your body is holding on to, okay? When we become in stressful environments, when we are subjected to traumatic events, or even things that are consistent, like everyday things, you're sitting in traffic and you're waiting on a light and you're frustrated. When you get home, maybe a good idea is to get your hands in some soil, because what the soil will offer you is a microbacteria vaccae, which is in soil, and that's something that helps reduce the cortisol. It allows you to kind of offload some of that byproduct that you've created that you don't really need and it doesn't really serve you. Right. Mm-hmm. So when we're talking about gardening as far as the generations are concerned, when it comes to children with ADHD, what gardening allows them to do is it allows them to maintain movement but give focus. So they continue that activity that, instead of they're all over the place, now they're here, they're digging a hole in the soil. They're picking out which seed they're gonna put. They're watering, they're pruning, they're doing things that are keeping them busy and keep them focused on the task.
Because it's a project.
Right, exactly, it's a project, it's something to do. And the same thing is kind of similar when you're speaking about, let's say, an adult who's got PTSD, suffered some kind of traumatic event in their life, right? So a plant is not going to judge you. A plant is not going to make you talk to it. A plant is not going to do any of those things. and there's consistency, there's a predictability, and you know if I put this seed in this dirt and I put water there, that plant is going to grow. So that gives a sense of stability, a sense of safety in whatever it is that you're doing. And then again, it takes the mind off of all the other outside noise, and you're able to focus and hone in on what it is that's really going to serve you the best. Now, in the geriatric population, it's helpful with people who have dementia or people who are showing signs of dementia, because what it does is it reorients you. So it gives you an opportunity to be reoriented and allows you to...
Are you talking about the early stage?
The early stages. It allows you to be reoriented. It allows you to bring back some of your memory. If you had a garden while you were younger and someone takes you outside and puts you in front of that rose bush, you're going to know what to do, and it's going to come like this because that's a practice that you had, and that's allowing them to have that memory. And in the same turn, the smells that come out of the garden, right? So you know what the rosemary smells like. You know what the roses smell like. You know what the lilacs smell like. And those are all things, those are sensory things that allow you to kind of focus back in and reorient you to self.
Oh, okay. Very interesting. Me, myself, it's like I love, when I go to people's places, if they have a very beautiful garden, so I'll enjoy everything that is there, but I don't think that I have the hands for it. So, but it was pretty amazing to see when I was conducting the research on that subject prior us meeting today, to see so many benefits, that has, especially on mental health, like you just mentioned before. And according to research that, so people who are involved into gardening, so that can help them reduce the amount of distress tremendously.
Yes.
Research stated that 30 minutes of gardening lowers stress hormone more than 30 minutes of reading.
Then isn't that amazing? And the thing about it is this, is that when you take the time and you take that 30 minutes and you invest it into gardening, it's not like a book. You put the book down, the book is read. When you're done with that 30 minutes, specifically if you're consistent with it, there's a harvest that comes with the work that you put in. So it's not like you're just pouring all of this time, 30 minutes a day, into a book. Yeah, there's a lot of things to learn in the book, but you plant that seed, say you plant a radish seed today, within a month or so, you're going to be pulling radish out of the ground. You know what I mean? So it's more than just that it reduces the stress level more, but it gives a confidence. It allows you to have confidence in your ability to be able to be a little bit more self-sustainable, to be able to grow something. You start here, you spend this 30 minutes today, you spend another 30 minutes tomorrow, and as time goes, you see what bountiful things become of you, as opposed to just a bountiful stack of books that's taking up space and collecting dust.
And it's also improved mood. According to research, soil contains
Microbacterium vaccae?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a microbe that triggers serotonin release.
That's right. It does trigger serotonin, and it does more than just that. It assists with your brain and your gut, the axis that's there in between. And so what happens is it can reduce inflammation. The soil that you get into, the more varieties of soil that you get into, is going to increase your ability to not have so many allergy symptoms. You know what I mean? It really boosts your immune system. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on with just interacting with the soil.
Earlier, when we were having our side conversation, and you mentioned some of the plants that people can even use throughout the year.
That's right. So for me, in the springtime is when I'm really coming alive. That's the time that I'm really coming alive. And the first indicators for me is when the magnolia trees start blooming. Because what I'm able to do is I'm able to go out there and pick some magnolia flowers and dehydrate them. You can do it in the oven at a very low temperature, or you can put them in a dehydrator, and you give yourself, you make enough so that you have tea for the whole year. So I can make
So
magnolia tea.
do we have many types of that, or
You
because
do.
sometimes
There are. There are.
I've seen
So,
purple, I've seen
right,
white. So
right.
which one are you
So
referring to?
I have two magnolia trees. One of them is called the Lobnieri merle, and that tree is tall. It's kind of compact in shape, and it has white flowers, small white flowers, right? And you know the magnolia tree, they all kind of look like a trumpet. They kind of sit like this, and then they leaf out of the sides. That one is a Lobnieri merle. One of the other trees that I have is a Magnolia Jane, and she's the hot pink one. She's the one that has like those hot pink flowers, and what you notice about her canopy is she's a little bit more broad. She kind of like lingers out, and she doesn't grow as big as the Magnolia Ann, which is the most popular out here on Long Island. That's that faint pink one. And you see those trees get gigantic, and their canopy a lot of times, specifically if people don't prune them appropriately, they can get so big, and you drive past them and you can smell them. But all of those trees produce flowers that you can create tea from. So, if you have a magnolia tree, it's lovely to be able to go and get yourself some flowers and dry them. But if you're just taking a walk in your neighborhood and you notice that somebody's got an out-of-hand magnolia tree and you're literally the tree's a foot from your face, take a couple flowers, put them in your purse, dry them out. You know what I mean? Because it makes a very, very nice tea. And one of the benefits of drinking magnolia tea is that it's anti-stress, it's anti-anxiety. And so now here you are going through the steps of making the tea. You got your tea leaves, you're gonna put them in your, decanter.
Is it the same one that help you, with your seasonal allergies?
Nope, the one that helps with the seasonal allergies, most people look at that plant like it's a weed. It's called a purple dead nettle. And it kind of looks like, it grows up in the lawn. It's kind of like this little umbrella of little flowers. They're very short to the ground. But that is a good plant for allergies. It's good for skin. It's good for a lot of different things. I specifically drink it for allergies because I do have terrible allergies. When allergy season comes, the face puffs, the itchy skin, all those kinds of things. And what purple dead nettle does is it's very specific to the region that you're getting it from. So if the plants that are in and around my neighborhood are the things that are causing me to experience allergy symptoms, that specific plant is going to fight against those specific plants that are in my neighborhood. It's going to be very specific, which is why it's good to, instead of going out into your yard spraying Roundup on everything you see, maybe take a picture of it. Google what the plant is, and then maybe see that there's a use that you can have. There's something that you can possibly use that plant for.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned the word Google, because it's like sometimes I had that experience where I had a plant and I didn't know what the heck to do with the plant. I took a picture of it, go to Google and, plug it into Google Image. And to my surprise, so it's like, Google Image gave me all the details that I needed to know about that plant. And now, if you see that plant, it's more like a tree.
And the thing about things like Google is that in days past, you would have had to go to a library, use the little Dewey Decimal, the Dewey Decimal System, so that you can figure out where the books are and all the things. With Google, it's instant information. So that, I feel like, releases some of the barriers that people have when they want to decide that they're going to start doing some gardening, because the information is there. And as far as I'm concerned, if you have the information and you have the resource, you can get anything done. You just need to have the know-how and the resources to get it done. And if you want to have a magnificent garden, you absolutely can. If your goal is only to, just have a small pot of mint, you can get it done, because Google will give you all of the information that you need to be able to guide you on the right path to whatever it is you're looking to do.
To go back to what you mentioned earlier about dementia, there was a research that was conducted, and the result came out. It was a 16-year study that found out that daily gardening reduced dementia risk by 30% in adults 60 and over.
Yep, and that's that consistent reorientation. That's the person's ability to be able to come back to the same spot on a regular basis and manage whatever the gardening task is, whether it's pulling the weeds, whether it's picking the flowers, whether it is pruning the tree, whether it's doing the watering, whether it is trimming the grass. Whatever it is that those tasks are, those kinds of tasks, they are able to reduce the cortisol. They're able to increase the way that you're able to remember things from day to day, and then also it reorients you to the current situation.
So it's like we address the mental health benefit, the cognitive benefits. So, and to my surprise, there are some physical benefits about it too. And the first one is a digging, planting, caring, watering. It's also, it helps you burn calories.
A lot of calories.
And help you with your joint.
Yes, I'm gonna tell you, this season, as I amended my soil, because I generally plant out of raised beds. So in the process of amending the soil, what you need to do is you need to have a good base soil. Because I use raised beds, I get raised bed soil, and those are heavy bags, right? So inside my wheelbarrow goes the bag. I split it down the middle, flip it open. Inside that same wheelbarrow goes another bag of compost, split it open, and then I put all the amendments, the bone meal and the blood meal and the worm castings. But then I gotta take a shovel and I gotta mix
all those terminology,
that
they're like
soil.
just Chinese to me.
These are the things that are gonna give my plants a good start. You know what I mean? Everything starts at the foundation. The soil is really the foundation of gardening, because without good soil, you're not going to be able to harvest too much of anything. You know what I mean? You can harvest some stuff, and there are some plants that are very tolerant to, less nutrient soil. But for my purposes, I want to have a lot of stuff. So in my wheelbarrow, I have all of these different things, and I got to use that shovel to turn this stuff over. I got to get what's on the bottom and the top, and I got to make sure that I have a nice homogeneous mixture before I put that stuff into my plant beds. And then once I get it into the plant beds, there's still more shoveling to do, because I want to mix last year's with this year.
A lot of exercise.
Right. So it is a lot of exercise. So it's not hard to believe that you would burn between 200 and 400 calories an hour gardening. And when I tell you I have to take frequent breaks, because it does take a tremendous toll. It does take a tremendous toll.
Otherwise, you will feel exhausted?
Otherwise, you will feel exhausted. And like, for instance, also with the carrying, because you have to carry water. During this part of the season, I just had the irrigation people just came to my house this morning to re-hook up the irrigation for the season, because at the end of the season, they blow it out in places where it snows and where it gets cold. So I have been having to use the water from my rain barrel in order to water the things that I have going. I've purchased pepper plants, I put in a couple of berry bushes, I put in a raspberry and a blackberry, but those things need watering. So now I gotta get my 5-gallon bucket, I gotta go to the rain barrel, I gotta drain it, and I gotta carry that 5-gallon bucket to where it needs to be used. So there's a lot of physical activity, but at the same time, once those hard pieces are over, it's kind of light work. You know what I mean? Like, once the irrigation is started, and all I have to do is maybe pull out a couple weeds here and there, it's easier on your joints than, let's say, running or that kind of thing. But definitely a lot of physical activity goes into gardening.
Okay, so, and I've noticed that it helps people sleep better. It's also improve immunity.
That's right. So when you're out in this, first of all, you expend the energy. And when you're out in the sun, it helps kind of regulate that circadian rhythm that we have that allows us to sleep at night. So we're reducing the cortisol. We are improving our circadian rhythm. And we're doing all the things that are going to allow us to be able to go home at night and get nice, well-rested time.
We want to continue with the benefits. We have the social and environmental benefits.
Yes. So as far as the environment is concerned, we need plants. We need them. We need plants. The plants that are here on Earth, they were provided for us to be able to benefit from whatever it is that they're offering. And when it comes to living in society, the benefit of having a garden is really nice because, for instance, I grow things, and there's a woman who lives across the street from me who's in her 90s, and she loves to see me coming because here I come with my little basket and I got fresh collards, and she hasn't had fresh collards, since whenever for who knows how long. And then the other thing is things like community gardens. So libraries can have a community garden. Facilities that house the elderly, they may have a community garden, and that also helps when it comes to the dementia.
Connection.
And it allows people to create connections. It allows and because gardening is something that you have to be consistent with, it allows for that consistent connection, and that can really help people when it comes to people who have dementia, because it's familiar faces that they may see. It's good for children who have ADHD because it allows them consistency with the movement. For people who are adult and have the PTSD or other traumatic events, they are able to, they tend to be a little bit more introverted. They tend not to want to have too many connections. But if they don't have to necessarily focus on the person standing next to them, it can be more of a gradual introduction into being societal within a group of people, as opposed to forcing someone into a room with a whole bunch of people and then the anxiety builds. This is more of a casual kind of, here we are, I'm focused on my task, you're focused on your task, and the interactions may or may not happen, but over time, eventually, they're more likely to happen than not to happen. But it allows community to be fostered when you have a community garden.
But it was amazing to read that community gardening, help decrease isolation up to 60%.
Yep.
This is a large number.
That's right. And the thing is too, is that is a multi-generational thing, because if you think about it, you are not going to have a 60-year-old person tossing soil in a wheelbarrow. You're not going to have them picking up that 5-gallon bucket of water. You're going to have somebody in the community who's maybe a little bit younger. So now you have multiple different generations sharing in the same task, which really, really amplifies the idea that this communal participatory event is something that is going to be beneficial to everyone who's involved.
Okay, so, we're gonna go back. We're gonna play with the statistic. Let me go to the set of questions that I had for you. What is the most surprising research finding on gardening and mental health that people don't know?
I think that people do not realize how much it can assist you with depression, with anxiety, with PTSD, all of the ailments that we come across or we experience in our day-to-day lives, and the diagnoses that you may have. Gardening can be such a helpful tool to help you navigate through some of the symptomatology that goes along with those diagnoses.
It's very important. We hear dirt makes you happy because of Microbacterium vaccae. How solid is that science? And does it matter for the average gardener?
It does matter for the average gardener because, like I said, what that science tells us is that it's going to lower the cortisol levels. It's going to increase the brain and gut communication, decreasing the inflammation, all of those things. And so when you have something that is so beneficial, right, you want to be able to really get involved in that, because you know that if you have some kind of psychological issues, you want to be able to use what is readily available to you, and dirt is everywhere. There's dirt everywhere you go, we can find dirt. There's dirt in places where we don't even want it, right? So you can always go somewhere and not subject yourself, because it seems like now I'm trying, but you can always go and experience the movement that happens when you're gardening, the movement that happens when you're moving dirt, the movement that happens when you make the little hole and plant the seed. There's so much to be offered. The soil has so much to give us.
Yeah, definitely. And some people believe that the soil can sometimes heal.
Of course, it's healing. Soil is healing. It is healing. It absolutely is healing.
Studies show gardening cuts depression score up by 37%. In your work, what changes do you actually see in people week to week? For those who may practice, or even yourself included.
We kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. I suffer from seasonal affective disorder. So during the winter months, I could take it or leave it. But as soon as I see that magnolia tree in my front yard is starting to blossom, just like that, as soon as I start seeing the buds are growing, they look like they're about to flower, the excitement builds. It's a complete change in my mood. It's a complete change in that drab October, November, December, those cold months where you feel like there's not much going on as far as the gardening is concerned. So I would say that people who start gardening, I would say that within a week or so, but even 10 minutes, if you consistently do 10 minutes of something every day, and it doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be, you're brushing your teeth and you're looking at your plant, picking off whatever yellow leaves you have. Brushing your teeth, checking to see how moist the soil is. Maybe giving the plant a little bit of water. Just 10 minutes a day, 10 minutes, just to involve yourself in something where you are interacting and providing care for something that is living, but not a person who is not going to talk back to you, not a person who is not going to, maybe make you feel a certain kind of way. It's a plant, and you can give as much as you want to that plant and see that plant flourish. The thing that I would advise against is doing too much to the plant. You don't want to overwater it. You don't want to over-fertilize it. You want to be doing just enough so that the plant can survive and live at its optimal, at its peak.
I've heard people before stated that it's important to talk to your plant. Is there any benefit to that? I don't know. I'm a plant lover. I just love plants, but I just don't know how to nurture them.
I don't necessarily know the numbers and the efficacy of what the plant feels when you're talking to it. But what I can speak on is if you have a person who is having a difficult time with their own thoughts, a difficult time having conversation with other people, that is a good opportunity for people. That's a good thing for people to talk to the plant then. You know what I mean? If you're comfortable talking to a plant, because like I said, you're not going to get any verbal feedback. Nothing's coming back. Nobody's going to say that's a bad idea. Nobody's going to say, oh, your thought process is horrible. You're just letting it out there. And that ability to be able to vent, it's almost like journaling. It's almost like going to your plant and journaling what your experiences are. And that's therapeutic in itself.
Yes, indeed. So now, I'm going to ask you that question. So it's like if you had the experience, you can share. If not, we'll skip to the next one. Can you share a specific, I know you are a nurse. I will use the word patient. Myself, sometimes I use both patient and client depending on the setting that I work. Can you share a specific patient story or client where gardening was the turning point for their mental health?
I don't know that I can specifically do that, but what I can say is that let's take for example the people in my household. If I start seeing somebody in my household with their lip hanging low, I'm trying to get them out into that yard. I'm trying to get their hands in some soil. I'm trying to have them focus on something other than whatever it is that is bothering them for the moment so that they can process that stuff. If they take their time and their energy and they focus it on what's going on in the garden or the task that I've asked them to complete, then that's what they're focused on. And when they're done with that, their cortisol is lower, their mood has lightened, and now they can more effectively deal with whatever it was that was agitating them in the first place. And so I think that's a pretty good practice.
Okay. What is your own relationship with gardening? Did you discover the benefits personally?
So, like I said, when I was younger, I was a latchkey kid born in the Bronx, and so I spent a lot of alone time at home, and I would watch a lot of the gardening channels, and I always knew that I liked, all the plants and the flowers, and look at how nice everything looks, and it didn't dawn on me until I started my own garden. It's like going down a rabbit hole. It's like you see one thing and you say, okay, now what is the best way that I can manage this particular plant? And then you go down and you're looking and you say, wow, this plant has this many benefits. This plant does this, it does that, it does the other thing. And it was just so easy for me to just dive right in because it excited me. You know what I mean? And as I matured in life, and I don't have any young children anymore, my child is adult, I have a lot more free time to dive down those rabbit holes at will. And like I said, when you have the information and the resource, which as you get older, you're able to have some of that resource and some of that information offered to you like on Google or ChatGPT or whatever the case, it really fosters my ability to be able to hunker down into the craft and to the hobby that I enjoy. And it allows me to be able to spread some of what I gather from that hobby. You know what I mean? Because I can't eat all the tomatoes that I grow by myself.
Or the cucumbers.
I can't eat all the cucumbers by myself. Yeah, I can pickle a whole bunch. My pantry closet is nice and full. I do a lot of canning. I do. But also I have the neighbor across the street, Miss Stevens. I have my colleagues at work. I, create things. And even on the off season, let's say I have a whole bunch of herbs at the end of the season. I just hang them up in little bushels and I dry them. And then my brain starts wondering, now what am I going to make with this? And I'll come up with a salve, because this is a pain reliever. Or I'll come up with a tincture because this helps with anxiety. Or a body scrub. Or whatever it is that comes to my mind. Those are the things that I'm able to do because those are the rabbit holes that I choose to go down.
So all the things that you were able to create or make with those plants, so do you normally go on the benefits of that particular or specific plant?
I do.
Okay.
I do. So for instance, the purple basil plant that I use, I'll make a pain salve with that. And so what I'll do is that you would have the dried purple basil and you would put it in oil. And I traditionally use grapeseed oil. And you just let it sit in the grapeseed oil for several months and you allow that oil to extract the benefits of the basil. Now I have a product here that now I can turn this into a salve. All I need to do is to add some other supporting stuff to it. So I'll add some peppermint oil, which is supportive. It's gonna do the same thing as far as relieving pain. I'll put some camphor in it because we know that camphor is going to help with relieving pain. And I'll solidify it with some beeswax. So I'll warm everything up, I'll put some beeswax in, and then I'll pour it in little jars, and then I have a salve so that when my muscles are sore from tossing all that soil in the wheelbarrow, I have something to rub onto myself that's going to help me. But I will also take that same plant and process it differently. I could take that same plant and process it in a very high proof alcohol, right? And let it sit for the same amount of time and then strain it out. And what I've created is a tincture. And that I will put in little bottles that have a dropper vial so that, say, for instance, someone has period cramps or, they have upset stomach or some other kind of pain, they can take a drop or two full of those and put it in their tea and they can dose themselves and relieve the pain without having to pop the pill that comes from the pharmacy.
You know what? That's funny you mentioned that because while you were talking, and that question kept on coming to mind. So, I was just wondering whether your nursing background, what role your nursing background plays into all of that.
I think a lot. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times when I'm looking up a plant and to see what benefits it has, it's a lot easier for me to understand. Like if there's a plant and it says that it's a natural diuretic, I understand what that means. I understand that that's going to make me shed some unwanted water weight. You understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think that my nursing has a lot to do with that. It does allow me to really lean on both of my expertise and come up with things that are really going to be beneficial for my family and the people who are around me. Because I have an uncle, and when I tell you, he's always asking, you ain't got any more jars of that salve? He's always ready to receive it because he has arthritis. And he knows if he rubs that on his knees, he's going to be able to get some relief without having to be swallowing a whole bunch of pills and along with the regular medications that he has to take.
Okay, this is amazing. My next question.